here, so you could do a video about it.
Hey everyone, welcome to BrickVault. Today we are looking at 6 different Spider-Man and, well, Marvel sets for the 2021 Winter Wave. I first do want to say thank you to the LEGO group for sending these sets over to us to do a review. You could see in the beginning that Spider-Man definitely tracks with the younger kids for sure. That was my nephew playing or wanting to play with these things right before I did the video. And anyways, I'm going to be doing a baseline review for all 6 of these sets individually, give you guys my basic take on them, tell you guys what I think about in terms of their purchasing power, or what I think is sort of more worthwhile depending on what you're interested in for getting these sets. In general, this wave is certainly a lot more kid-based. This Marvel wave is definitely oriented to the younger builder compared to some of the earlier Marvel waves, and I think that's because the cinematic universe has finally slowed down quite a bit when it comes to these types of sets. So anyways, I'm going to be jumping in. I'm going to probably want to start off with the 3 different Mech armor sets just because they're so simple and easy to tackle. Here we've got the Captain America Mech armor, the Thor Mech armor, and Miles Morales Mech armor, set number 76168, 69, and 71. 121 pieces, 139 pieces, and 125 pieces. They all sell for £9 or €10 or 10 US dollars. So their part to price ratio isn't really a factor here in terms of what it is. These are just basic $10 sets, and you get a different minifig for each one. These 3 figures are all unique to just their sets as of the recording of this video. In fact, these sets aren't out yet. Technically, they are meant to be out for January 1st as part of the Winter Wave. But anyways, we've got Captain America here. We have seen this face piece before, but just not on this particular unique body print. I like his alternate expression. He's got both the chin strap and no chin strap, so you can have a little bit of a combination between either version if that's what you prefer. And also I like that there's this little black border around his shield. It looks good. It's a little bit more well-defined, I think, with the little bit of black highlighting there. Pretty good prints all around for Captain America. The same can be said for Thor. I think I have seen this print before on other torso pieces, and the mold here is really, I think, the special part about this guy. It really does look pretty darn good. Very, very cartoony and comic booky. A little bit of a departure from, once again, the more adult versions of these characters that we've seen for quite a while. Pretty decent alternate expression. And then for Miles Morales, I think he's my favorite. This hood piece just looks really, really nice. It's not the first time we've gotten this hood mold, but it is the first time, I think, in dark red. Also, this is a unique print for his torso, which is also really nice. The hoodie with the insignia on both the front and back, this suit underneath the hood, and he's got dual molded legs, which is always a nice touch. It's always a nice thing to get for these types of little $10 sets. You can have just about a million things attached to Miles Morales' little hand there for his shooter. So this is just one of the things, and let me show you guys how their accessories attach to their mechs. For Captain America, it's pretty simple. He's got a little clip on the back of his leg, and that is where the shield attaches. So that's nice when you put your minifigure inside the mech. The accessory has a place to go, and then you don't end up losing it later down the line, because that is definitely going to always sort of happen with these types of sets. The same goes for Thor. It's on the side of his leg. He fits in there really, really easily, just like the other figs. And then for Miles Morales, because there's so many of these different shots for the different Spider-Man figs, like any one of these attachments here in the trans blue can attach to Miles Morales' hand. So this mech has kind of figured out a way to integrate all of the potential shots into the body of the mech, which I think is definitely the best integration. It makes the mech look a little bit cooler, looks a little different. The blue color highlights, I think, help its overall look, and it's also a way you don't lose all of these different shots that are absolutely everywhere. Now, This is probably, I think, my favorite one, the Miles Morales one, just because it's a little bit thinner, and I think that works for its simplistic build style. So the arms are at any time really just a brick thick, and often maybe even a little bit thinner than that. This is probably the easiest to articulate just because it's a little bit thinner. There aren't many extra pieces that are kind of sticking around. He also has the most reach with this thing if you're fighting any other mech. So moving on to Thor, he's got the big old hammer, which is fine. It looks all right. These are some nice little stickers there. You can see a little bit of energy, lightning, detailing. Makes him a little bit heavier on one side because of the hammer, but it's never been a factor that's going to make him unstable or fall over. He's still very easy to articulate and move around. He's just a little bit bigger and bulkier. He's also got a lot of different contrasting color highlights, which really is just kind of up to you and your personal preference. Personally, I don't think all of it really looks particularly great. He's got a lot of red in the back to sort of highlight cape detailing, but it's not quite cape detailing. You can, I don't know, you can flip these up, you can play around, you can articulate quite a bit on these mechs if you want for whatever reasons, but for the most part, I think he's a little bit busy for the amount of simplistic build style that we have for this little mech. He's got some stickers here, as you can see. And then I also think Captain America, he's got actually a pretty good look for his character. Really, really simple. He doesn't come with a hammer either, but he does have a shield, a really nice printed shield. It is simply a matter of time before you see the big brick-built version of a Captain America figure that matches with the size of the shield. It's really just such a good piece that I can see this getting used in really interesting ways for custom builds later down the line. There are some nice pieces thrown into the build of these mechs, but it's pretty minimal. We have the same mold going for each of them here, and this is also a really nice piece here in the front. That's also a printed piece. It's a 2x2 tile, which is fun. But yeah, in terms of my favorite pieces included for these actual builds, it's definitely this big printed shield. So I know that's going to be something that people are going to want. It's just this actual shield piece. But I also really like that we get these little bar clips in medium azure. I know that's a weird thing to really like, but I think that's actually something that'll be really fun for custom building later down the line. We just don't get that piece in that color very often. Once again, Thor, in terms of pieces, these are nice pieces, and we get them in red, which is cool. I do like that, but yeah, in terms of singular parts or new unique colors and stuff for pieces, Thor maybe is the weakest just for me personally, though all of these sets, in terms of whatever your personal preference is, there isn't really a huge difference. It's kind of like, who's your favorite character? What do you think is the coolest looking mech? They're all kind of similar. It's really a character-based thing for me. All right, now here are the next three sets. We've got Spider-Man Monster Truck versus Mysterio. Then this is Spider-Man and Ghost Rider versus Carnage. Pretty good build for a muscle car. Feels like an old Speed Champions kind of set. And then this is the 4-and-up, previously known as Junior set, Spider-Man versus Sandman, or Spider-Man Sandman Showdown is the actual title here. Let's start off with the big one with all the different figs and accessory pieces. Before we jump into the figs here, I just wanted to show you guys, you like this old gray shovel. Clearly, I think my nephew was playing with the set at one point. That is definitely not a part of it. It's actually a really good build for a monster truck. I can see why he likes playing with it, because it can wobble around and it's just really big and easy to roll. It's got a net shooting function in the back, but let's get into the figs first. Alrighty, we're taking a look at Mysterio first. I love this piece that he is standing on that gives him this sort of apparition-like effect. The great thing about it is, A, it's way more detailed than the previous apparition piece, but also it just fits right into the minifigure legs, so you don't have to take this piece off and possibly lose it like they have alternate leg pieces for some figs in other sets. This just fits right in, and it just looks so good. Look at all the different weird molding that they have. It just looks very streaky and very intricate. This is the printing for the back, but really this is the piece that I absolutely love. I don't think we've got Mysterio's pearly headpiece in this particular bluish pearl color. I don't know the name of that color, but it looks pretty good, and it contrasts really well against his magenta soft cloth cape. Awesome figure, really, really excellent to get this guy. And then I hope this guy fits in the shot. I might have to zoom it out a little bit because there's so much of a build around him, but we've obviously got our latest iteration of Doc Ock. He's done in dark green, which is kind of cool. And yeah, there's a lot of articulation to these little pincher pieces. In the set picture, it shows him holding on to gold and to different dollar bill pieces and stuff there. So there's a little bit of grip, but it's not really meant to grip onto things. It's really just sort of, it's just there. We've got these nice little ball joint pieces in trans green, which could indicate, you know, energy shots or electrical shocking things. If you're grabbing a good guy, he can hurt him or something like that. There's also some sticker detailing on the slope pieces that if I spread it out, you can kind of get a little bit of a better look. All right, here he is a little bit closer. Now you can see his actual print. Looks great. This is his alternate expression. Doc Ock is one of my favorite villains of all time within the superhero universe. He's been done a ton of times in minifig form, and this is one of his better iterations, I would say. Here is your latest iteration of Spider-Gwen. Not bad in terms of detailing at all. You see that same hood piece, this time it's done in white. She has a great set of prints in the back. I do like those little color highlights by the shoulder. That's a nice little accuracy that they've held onto. No printing for the legs. Oh, let's focus right out. No printing for the legs, which is something that I think is left to be desired, but not terrible. I still think that the printing for this figure is pretty darn good, and people definitely like getting updated versions of Spider-Gwen. Now here is Spider-Man. Check this out. I really like this. Look, it is a full sleeve of printing along the arm. It goes pretty much as high as you can go on the shoulder and as low as you can go on the wrist. They do it for both arms. That is excellent. I really like that they did arm printing there. They haven't done that maybe since Greedo in like 2003. Like, I mean, they really don't do full sleeves ever in Lego. I think it was something they experimented with nearly 20 years ago and then decided they didn't feel like it, or the production was a little bit too inconsistent, but it looks like they finally came back to it. So that is awesome that he's got arm printing, and the rest of his body is pretty standard. I think it is slightly different maybe than some of the other ones we've had, but pretty standard Spider-Man print. But yeah, the arms is definitely an excellent touch. Real quick, here are some of the extra accessory attachments that you can get. Different shapes and sizes. Here's some little handcuff pieces that you can spray onto bad guys when you capture them. And then the build also comes with, or the set also comes with, these two little drone builds that I think are Doc Ock's creation. They're actually really nice, very swooshable, good placement for holding on to the stud shooters, which is really nice. I like that you get two of them. These are actually really fun. These are definitely the things that I would have played around with a lot more as a kid. Just swooshing. They're probably the easiest, simplest little things to swoosh. But now let's take a look at, I think, the main attraction. We've got the monster truck. It's really, really articulatable. I mean, look how much that thing can wibble and wobble, and it kind of wants to right itself back up. It's super, super rolly. I mean, this is probably the easiest, biggest thing. It's a big brick. It's a big block. You can just grab it super, super easily. This is definitely something that my nephew likes to play with. And then you've also got this fold open function here for the net launcher. This thing's a little bit harder to load and to shoot for a younger kid, but it's definitely a cool looking function. It doesn't pivot up and down. It really can only shoot straight out like that. Maybe I should point it this way to give you guys an example. Goes pretty far. It's a decently easy thing to load, I would say. With a little bit of dexterity, you can get it in there. Not too bad. And I think there's a way to fold it in there so when you flick it, kind of like pops open properly. You kind of just have to play with it a little bit. What? That thing just like shot backwards. All right, well, yeah, it goes pretty far when you get it to work right. All right, but moving on into other aspects of the build. Basically, there's no other interior. There's a little intake piece there that's just a bit of I suppose, mechanical detailing. You can see a little bit how this works here, how this manages to sort of right itself in the center. It's a really, really easy function. It works pretty well. There's just these rubber, sorry, you can't see that. There's these rubber axle pieces, sorry, these rubber little 1x2 sort of axle opening pieces that like to push this thing back into its place. And then outside of that, you can access the interior. The top comes off, but really you want to take the windscreen off in order to get Spider-Man or Spider-Gwen or somebody else into the driver's seat. But altogether, it is a very easy and simple function. You can see the sticker detailing there in the front, if I can get that roof to come back on. Got Spider-Man in the front, another little insignia, couple of stickers on the sides, but that's pretty much it in terms of the detail. Oh yeah, it also Spider #1 for the license plate. So there it is for the detailing. Pretty easy, super easy play function. Really nice figs. Let's move on to the Ghost Rider set. Like I said earlier, this is pretty much a throwback to an older Speed Champions design, which was 6 studs wide. Still plenty of detail, I think, when taking on this particular approach. It's a little boxy, but ultimately it gets that aggressive muscle car look across pretty well. This can transform, which is super simple, but I like that you can make it look like this flamed out Ghost Rider version of a car, or you can have it look a little bit more normal. I guess it's super, super long, by the way. It's kind of an interesting build, but let's get into the minifigs first. Alrighty, here's Spider-Man again. He's the same as the last time we saw Spider-Man. He's still got that excellent looking arm printing. Let me turn that down a little bit. Yeah, he's good, but this time you see he doesn't come with those trans clear pieces that are meant for the web shooting. He's just got that pretty standard white one. Now we're looking at Ghost Rider. This is a new version of Ghost Rider. The printing for his face, the printing for his torso. He looks a little bit different. I'm going to say this is comic book inspired, though I can't really, I'm not really keeping up particularly well with the more contemporary iterations of this character. I love this flame piece. We've seen this piece before. I still wish that you could take it off the minifigure head. You can't. It's stuck on there, and that's because I think Lego doesn't want you to take this piece and put it onto a yellow minifigure head that looks like he's screaming, because that would be too violent for Lego. It's still a really, really great piece, and it looks awesome on this guy. And now one of my favorite bad dudes ever in superhero. Actually, a lot of my favorite bad guys come from the Spider-Man universe. I think Spider-Man just had really great villains. Yeah, Carnage. Carnage looks so cool. Let's see if I can get that to hopefully not intersect when spinning a little bit. Really good. I think these pieces done in dark red, kind of blending into the black in the back. This is probably one of the smoothest transitions for his weird tentacle-like growths that come out, are really part of Carnage. So I think this is probably one of the most successful iterations, because the black line detailing here is a little bit thicker, which works better for just the Lego art styling on a minifigure body. And even without the build on the back, they kept the look really consistent along his back printing as well. And he's just an excellent looking fig. I also think they got the eyes a little bit better for this version of Carnage as well. Alrighty, here we are with the actual vehicle. Let's just show you guys its functions. Once again, you can take off just the roof, but it's better to do both the roof and the windscreen. And it is easy as pie getting a minifigure in there. This is very, very friendly and accessible to anybody that's trying to get this to work. And there you go. You've got a figure on the inside, plenty of space, super easy to perform. Now let's do the transformation function. You can see a little bit of the detailing underneath. And yeah, it basically requires you to take these pieces off here and there. You saw these little guys floating around, a couple of cheese wedge pieces, 1x2s. That's the main, that's the main bit of transformation. Everything else is just taking these accessories off. You can leave that yellow piece on or take it off. It's really sort of up to you. And if you want, you can also shoot these studs out, like a fire weapon. But I think also to get a slightly more realistic look, these stud shooters kind of have a intake feeling about them when you take the fire element, the trans orange element, out of them. So now you have all these trans orange pieces out there, and you've got a pretty good looking car. Let's squish that down a little bit. There's a little bit of spacing on some of that. But yeah, this could sort of function. Kind of looks like a license plate at a quick glance. Not really, but you could argue it that way. There's a really fun connection, stud reversal on this side, just simply done with clips. And then there's a couple of bricks with studs on the side, and you make it all solid in the back. It's a really simple, easy, and super clever way to get some nice detailing in there that isn't going to make the build complex, but still feel like you're getting some nice techniques out of it. All right, we've moved on to the Spider-Man Sandman Showdown set. I'm just showing you guys the figs first. We got another Spider-Man with the same great arm printing. So this is the cheapest set you can get the cool Spider-Man with arm printing in, which is nice. This is Sandman. We've seen this piece on another version of Sandman before in the past, but the top version of the figure was very different. In fact, this torso print, I believe, is unique just to this guy in terms of the print detailing himself. He doesn't come with legs as an alternate. This is just him. If you want to see what the full print looks like, I guess, you can take that off. You're not really, it's not like there's some crazy different detail. You can just see a little bit more ab detailing underneath him there. And that's pretty much it for him. You can also see no alternate expression. Tell me in the comments below which expression you think this minifigure has. What other minifigures have Sandman's face? You'll never, ever in a million years be able to guess the expression of Sandman. Okay, let's move on to the set. Alrighty, here is the whole thing. This is an extremely easy set to build. It's just 45 pieces, and that is, because it's a juniors set, you can actually see that the whole body of this buggy is just one big piece with just a few cosmetic little bits added on there. This is a print, which is always nice because the 4-and-up sets don't have stickers. It's a little bit too difficult for the younger kids to kind of get right usually. Yeah, so this is a fun little buggy. Little kids definitely like playing with it. That's for dang sure. And then we've got this little catapult piece, which is kind of the opposite of, I don't know, it's not that easy for like a really young kid to get in there and get that placed right and then hit it just right. And then of course, I mean, anything that shoots will get lost, so that's not really here or there. I'm just never really a big fan of the cannonball, or sorry, not the catapult, I should say. But that is the function. They just stud right into the rest of the sandy bottom piece. You can get this piece to stud in. It's a little bit funny. I always have to kind of play around and guess how the studdage works for this. There we go. He fits in there, so he's kind of part of the play feature. And there's also this piece too, which is Spider-Man, coming in, and you can kind of attach it there if you want and have him webbing in and playing around. But this is all very, very much based on your imagination in terms of play feature. It's a very, very small island of a play feature with just a catapult and a fun little buggy to play around with. It's a $10 set. You do get 2 figs in this $10 set, so that's actually not bad. Juniors, or sorry, 4+ sets like this are notoriously overpriced, but not this one. And that kind of bleeds over into my final thoughts about the Winter Wave. It's very much kid-oriented, and because they know that I think a larger older audience isn't getting like super nostalgic into these sets, and they just are trying to focus on having accessibility for the younger generation of just getting into the fun things about Spider-Man. The price is for any of these sets are actually all pretty reasonable. The most expensive one here is what is that? $40. $40 for 4 figs, over 400 pieces. Lots of play features, some really fun little builds. I actually think those drones are somewhat underrated. They don't look particularly exciting, but I think they're kind of fun and sleek and very easy to swoosh and easy to play with. The monster truck is great. All the figs are awesome here. I mean, you really do get a pretty good assortment. Some really nice details included for those guys. And yeah, you have a really fun, surprisingly clever set of techniques that make up Ghost Rider's muscle car here. And yeah, this junior set is even not overpriced, which has been sort of a thing that I've chimed in on so many times over the years, that 4-and-up sets or junior sets are just not really worth it. $10 for any of these. I mean, people pay $10 and are happy to get a $10 BrickHead set. You get roughly the same amount of pieces for these guys, and a minifigure that so far has not appeared in any other set but the single Mech piece here. So I think collectors will like that, and people that just want to get their favorite character will like that. The Miles Morales fig in particular I think is really good. Lots of interesting pieces used for the Mech sets. I think a little bit more so compared to the rest of this line, but not bad at all. Also, last thing, they have a really good utility of using a lot of those different fire pieces that come in that little extra bag. They can almost all get utilized there for the Ghost Rider set. All of them pretty much get utilized for the Mech armor set, so that's nice. Not a lot of loose pieces, extra ones laying around that end up getting lost over time, which is usually the case when they're sitting around loose like that. But there you have it. That's my basic breakdown for the winter wave of Marvel sets. Thank you so much to LEGO for sending these guys over to us to do a review. I know one person who's going to be very happy to play with these when I'm done making this video. So anyways, let me know what you guys think was good or bad about these sets. Personally, I think once you accept that they're making them a little bit more kid-oriented, which I know some people will have pushback on, I think they did a pretty decent job for what they were trying to go for. Make cheaper, easier sets to get that have your favorite superheroes. And yeah, I think that's pretty much all I got to say. So anyways, thank you so much for watching, everybody. If you enjoy our content, you can always like, subscribe, click the links in the description below. And righto, we'll see you next time at BrickVault. I'm going to make a video about them, and then you can play with them all you like right after, okay?